What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Brew Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hold on, let me turn these jackasses off. Wow. Oh my goodness. Sorry, back here at the Red Brick House, and we have some breaking news that definitely affects the Cowboys, and this is, to me, huge, okay? We already know that Dan Quinn, that the Commanders, the Panthers, and the Chargers all have head coaching openings right now and have requested Dan Quinn to interview. And my thing with Dan Quinn was, I don't see him wanting to join the Panthers that literally have been just like a turnstile when it comes to coaches. I don't see him there. Washington's kind of a wild card because you don't know what the new ownership's like, but that's a place where the quarterbacks' careers go to die. And even the Chargers, you have a quarterback, but you look at that situation and you say, you get on with the Spanos family, and I'm not sure that's where you really want to be. I've been saying all along, the one that worried me would be is if the Seattle Seahawks had an opening, that Dan Quinn, being part of Pete Carroll's program, having created the Legion of Boom, and being there in Seattle where he is truly loved, would be the job that I would say, if I'm Dan Quinn, I don't need to be in a rush to get a head coaching job. I can wait for the best one, the one that I say is, this is my final coaching job. And I don't know if Dan Quinn wants to be a head coach or not again, but I would look at it and say, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it someplace that I know I'm going to be even happier and that I'm going to be loved. Well, that job has now become open because Pete Carroll, who is, I believe, 71 years old, a shocker in Seattle, Pete Carroll is expected to be out as Seattle head coach per sources. He still could remain in the organization, but not as the head coach. Which, when you read that situation, you know, if this is one of those ones where they want to keep him in the front office and they say, you know, we love you. You won a Super Bowl here. You took us to another one. You will have a career here forever. And you can go out the way you want to go out. This is where that relationship with Dan Quinn would come in. That Dan Quinn, because he always gives credit to Pete Carroll, who was instrumental in his career. And you have to look at this and say that maybe Seattle's hand was forced because they do like Dan Quinn a lot, and they know that Dan Quinn is going to get a lot of, you know, offers out there, that they may have looked at this and said, Pete, listen, we want Dan Quinn, and if we hold on to you for another year, we may not have that opportunity. And I can guarantee you that they will be calling the Cowboys to set up an interview. Oh, boy. Now, here's what I'll say. Maybe this will be a situation like Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells, as a head coach leading the Giants, he never won the Super Bowl again. Nobody has actually won Super Bowls with two different teams. But the thing about Bill Parcells is he was a team builder. He ended up getting the foundation, and you can look at this and say that the team that Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett had was because of what Bill Parcells did as far as stocking the cabinets and getting them back in the right direction after all those 5-11 seasons. And that maybe, if it is that Dan Quinn goes to Seattle, I would like to see Al Harris get the opportunity to be the defensive coordinator. That would be a hiring that I would truly support, because you got to give the man a chance. Because one, he is a Mike McCarthy guy. He played for Mike McCarthy. Two, he is the defensive backs coach. And when you look at Deron Bland leading the NFL in interceptions when nobody thought he was going to be getting that much playing time because Diggs was there, and you look at 2 years ago, Diggs ended up being the guy who literally ended up being all century as far as interceptions go right now. You look at him and say the players respond to that guy. He knows the system. He knows Dan Quinn. He's been here several years, and the Cowboys like to hire within. And I would say that I believe that that would be a good hire. So if you're Jerry Jones, if you do have any inkling of Mike McCarthy not being here any longer, or Mike McCarthy, if you know that you're only going to coach for a year or two more, they need to get together and say, listen, this is a succession. Dan, we know you're going to be enticed by the Seattle Seahawks, but we want you here to be with Micah Parsons to get that guy to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, to be the greatest player in football history. Mike McCarthy might be the head coach for another year or two. You're the guy that we want to eventually take over as the guy. And maybe, just maybe, and you sweeten the deal with a whole bunch more money, you could hold on to him for a little longer. But I'm going to be the one that's going to say, I believe that this is, that we're going to lose Dan Quinn. I really feel like we're going to lose Dan Quinn. Pete Carroll, incredible career with the Seahawks, taking what was a expansion team that had never really done much and getting those guys to win the Super Bowl with a historic defense. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Dan Quinn, is going to be the numero uno candidate right there. The only question you have about Seattle, and this is where you look at as going to a new job, is, and one of the reasons why they say the Chargers job is a good job, is because you look at it and say, if I have a quarterback, I can do a lot of things. If I don't have a quarterback, then I got some problems, and I need to go ahead and figure that situation out. And you look at Seattle, and do you know if Geno Smith is going to be the guy that's going to be able to get them to a Super Bowl? That would be the question that you have. And but you look overall at the team that Seattle has. Seattle has a decent team that's there, that's not far away from being able to challenge. So for both sides, if I'm Dan Quinn and I do want to be head coach again, Seattle job is very enticing. If you're Seattle and you look and say, yeah, we know this guy, we like what he does. He was successful at getting Atlanta to the Super Bowl, just a little bit short on winning it, but that's a guy that they would probably want. Whew. And this is why the Cowboys need to win now. Each team is its own entity. This team that exists right now will not be the same next year. It's going to change. The circumstances will change. The situations will change. And we know how it is when you win the NFC East. You don't win it the next year. You don't win it the next year. So yeah, Cowboys, we got to get this mother humper down.